Ashley needs a reset. I agree with that.
Yeah, and maybe that reset should have been a little longer than it was and should have included one of the house guests, Matt.
You can clearly see she's conflicted and confused, and that's not a good combination when you're trying to make a decision on someone you bring into your life.
Welcome to Cliff Alerts. Today we're going to be talking about TV One's reality-based TV series, The One, season number 1, episode number 9.
But before we get into it, please like, share, and subscribe. Please send us your comments and click that notification button as well. And we are grateful that you're here with us, and we appreciate assistance in helping us grow this channel. So here we go. Ashley went AWOL.
Right. Apparently, she had left the one mansion the night of, and slid on out to her parents' place to get away from some pressure that she was feeling, some guilt that she was feeling, something that she was feeling based on her last decision and elimination.
Right. So, of course, to change the mood, Brent decided that they were going to have a hot yoga situation going on at the house. Clearly, as you know, Brent was happy and pleased with himself because he was able to look at all the bits and the pieces, and clearly he was having a very, very good time.
Didn't miss not near a drumstick that passed his line of sight.
Tammy and Cook comes through and they explain to the group that hey, Ashley is overwhelmed and she needs a reset, so that's why she's not at the house.
Yeah, apparently she was again feeling the guilt and pressure of it all, and so she needed an out.
She returned and everyone was in the kitchen at this point, and she explained to them why she was absent.
Overwhelmed,
She's been overwhelmed, and what else?
felt a sense of guilt.
And
Wonder why.
she wasn't taking care of herself. How come she's no longer at the house?
Don't know, but I will say this. Before she got back to the house and made her reappearance, Matthew came back prior to her arrival. Matthew was at a funeral of one of his best friends who had passed away. So when he got back, apparently he did not see Ashley.
I gotta ask you this question. How does a man who did not have not known you in the biblical sense feels hurt if he returns to a house where you should be and you're not there? How does
Uh,
that happen?
I don't know how it happens, but what I will say is this: if I'm wondering where she is and asking if she's okay, that would simply be, I guess, the first line of thinking, and I would wonder, is she okay? Blah blah blah. But to express to her that I was hurt
Hurt. Where does that come
because
from?
she
What
wasn't
is
there
that?
when I came back would have been, down the line, I would guess, and that presumes a whole lot of things have happened. I don't
Point
know.
two, it's like
Exactly.
we're missing some
There's a
stops
whole lot of
for
details that
the
need to be
brother
filled in.
to be hurt. Am I wrong?
No,
So I wasn't missing anything.
no, neither was I. I don't think. Could be wrong, but I don't think I was. Yeah. So Ashley is then approached by one of the guys in consideration or contention, Steve,
Yes.
for a little bit of one-on-one time because apparently he has some things to say there. And he starts off by saying, "Hey, look, it's probably a good idea based on what you revealed to us, in the kitchen in terms of why you had left. If we started off with a prayer."
Yeah.
And I thought that was a good move on his
It
part,
was
and I think it was
absolutely.
a thoughtful one
It
on his
was.
part, and I think it was a mature way to begin a conversation with him. And kudos to Steve for that.
Yeah, that guilt is something, ain't it?
Acting up on a conscious
I
boy with
remember.
with no
Can you
conscience.
remember when you were in guilt about something, how it made you feel like ratchet? It made
Um,
you feel out of sorts, unbalanced, sort of like you beat yourself up a little bit. You're confused, you're angry with yourself, you're disappointed.
Guilt is something to me that I would describe as relentless in
Yes.
terms of its assault on your conscience.
Bad as you, man.
It is
It's like
relentless.
one blow after another, one jab after the other, and you can't get it out of your head.
Yeah, and it doesn't give you any time really to recover.
No,
It
guilt doesn't
is
bring any peace.
right. It's ongoing, and it's constant.
Yeah, so that's why it's always a good to try to do. the better thing up front rather than go through that.
Actually, did confide in him that she had a meeting with Matthew in his room. Basically, Steve forgave her for that because he understands why he's there, and and she understands that she needs to be more fair and even-handed, if you will, in terms of the process that she's going through, and more honest.
Right, and then she meets with Brian, and she
Mhm.
sits down with Brian, and she talks about, "Hey, what happened between you and Jazzy? I thought you were allowed and perceived it as disrespect." And he said that not so much. He needed to talk to her, but he couldn't find her.
Brian did say, "Hey, look, I basically came to check on you, knocked on your door. You didn't answer. So I went
Silence.
to yeah, I went to Matthew's door. No answer there either.
So,
What's up?"
but she brushed over that.
She glided on, slide right on
But
past that
she
point.
wanted to know of the underbelly of his bad behavior.
More important things,
That was more important to her than
right
her.
on her mind.
Right. He's sorry she felt like that.
Right.
And it's in his confessional, he said that
Whatever.
he's not gonna get out of pocket and
Mhm.
get loud so it doesn't offend or hurt her in any way.
Do you think he was loud in that
No, I
account?
did not.
I didn't
But
think he was loud either.
I grew up with men and my sisters around me, and we weren't shrinking violets, not a near one of us.
Right. Right.
So,
Okay, but I didn't audibly speaking. I didn't think he was any louder. I mean, he was animated, but I don't think he was loud.
yeah, and I'm the last of five, so I tend to want to speak up.
We got that part handled. Trust me.
She said to Brian, she thinks that a man who does not drink has some level of what? Discipline.
Discipline.
Has a disciplined mind. And that's when Brian
Huh?
dropped the bomb on her. She said Matthew doesn't drink, and he said we took a shot together, had a couple of shots with Matthew.
Yeah.
And she was like shocked and confused. While she does not know who Matthew is as a man, she has these ideas that she hopes he is. And anything different from that picture that she has in her head, she is unwilling to let that dream or image or possibility go.
You kind of took another way of saying what I felt like when I saw it, and that was that she's kind of boxed herself
Yes.
in this scenario to responding and or dealing with one of the guys differently than she does with everybody else. So I think that that's probably at least in part some of her confusion, if you will, that she may be experiencing and that she's verbalized that she um may be having to deal with.
Had a moment with Matthew that she said was hot and heavy. And she said that she shared a kiss with Matthew. Does she mean that kind of one extended kiss? Is that what she's talking about?
If choice number A is a one kiss, if choice number B is
An
a kiss,
extended kiss.
the extended kiss, and what happens behind that,
Uh,
I'm going with choice B.
the reason Ashley is confused is because she doesn't tell herself the truth.
And she feels like she has to uphold some kind of
Yes, it's
image
all in her head.
or or present some kind of visual appearance that is not reflective or indicative of who she really is.
Hot and heavy,
That's
and
more than one damn kiss.
hot and heavy does not include my sister one kiss.
Oh, it goes way beyond that, sister. How you say it? Trust and believe?
Trust, trust and believe. They
Mhm.
come together. It's a twofold combination. We see Brent on the deck with Mika, and he's trying to show her how to smoke a cigar.
Uh-huh.
And we see Brent playing pool with Jazzy.
Mhm.
And he asks Jazzy, how does she feel about the elimination? Because we have another guilt situation. The ghost of Maika has stood up.
Showed up in that pool room.
So when asked, Jazzy said that, oh, I feel, but,
Yeah,
you
her and Brent
know,
have a connection, but
but I don't know. I don't feel settled in competing. And he says, well, don't think of it as competing. Think of it as you showing your best.
she's not worried about what the other ladies necessarily think.
Because she was there to make friends.
Right, she wasn't there. She was there to
She
get her
was
man, and it was It was
Competition, bring it
competition.
on.
Right, right, right. So now I guess she's changed her tune altogether. She's singing a different song.
And then he says in his confessional, she is coy.
Mhm.
Now, I thought coy was someone being a little bit deceitful,
Pretensive,
pretensive, and all those things that come with let's pretend.
fake. He said something that kind of caught my ear, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said we're like mirror images of one another.
Hmm.
So, in other words, the pretensiveness and fakeness that he uh, potentially sees in somebody that he's seriously considered and has an attraction to, being reflected back to him.
They plan to have a 70s kind of situation, the soul train of it all. So they got dressed up in the polyester and the fur and the Afro puffs. And Tammy came through. Her inspiration was palm bread.
Shuvar had the big fake polar bear coat on. Who was it? Who else was it? Brian came in on the men's side with looking like he was militant. Who else? Brent came in looking like Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, he looked like Unc. What we forgot is Matthew turns up at Ashley's door with some flowers, and they
Oh,
went
you mean the
out
one
on
she
the
don't
deck.
like?
Yeah,
The kind of
she made a big thing about she hates flowers,
right.
but she was teasing when she got them. So
Oh
maybe
hell
something
yeah!
changed.
That grin was all the way across the screen.
Maybe
Boy.
the point is she doesn't like flowers, but she does like them based on who is giving her the flowers.
Or what has transpired prior to that that would leave her smiling like she was when she's.
I'm glad I wasn't the one to say that.
I
You
did.
you have your suspicions, huh?
Oh, I think he's playing for real. I mean, do you talk about game?
So they go out to the deck, and he
Eh,
tells her that he went to his friend's funeral, and when he came back, she wasn't there, and he was.
hurt.
She believes him when she talks to him, but some things are making sense. And then she went on to say that someone said that he was drinking, and he said he never took a drink in the house. He's been drinking pineapple juice. Immediately, she said that, hey, maybe Brian is telling the truth. But later on, she said maybe Brian is trying to, change her mind in some way. Sister is just completely confused because she allowed herself to have an imagination as it relates to Matthew. She's using her imagination to think that she's one way with him when the reality of it is she doesn't know who he is. And to make that clearer, while they were having their disco situation, he goes to Brian and said, "Hey Brian, I see you told Ashley that I was having a drink.
Yeah, and
I may have toasted, but I didn't drink the alcohol. All I do is my pineapple juice."
right, and she didn't tell me this. I kind of came up with this on my own based on my recollection of it.
Right, and then Brian said, "Well, why are you capping them? If you don't drink, why are you taking shots?"
Like you
And
drink.
then put it aside. What sense does that make? Brian, he's so direct. He told him that, well, from where he
Fake
comes
drinking.
from, that's fake drinking.
I don't roll like that, and this is something that I am not guilty of. I'm not guilty of this.
Brian tells him, well, you pretending at drinking. What I find off-putting was you went to Ashley's room, and I don't care whatever you guys did, but you went to her room and you never even told me or the man what you did.
So this is
And
the second time you've been capping.
that's disrespectful, and that's capping to me too.
Right, right. So it seems like Matthew was not having that.
He
The
got
player got outed.
elimination time comes. Tammy and
Kirk, yeah,
they
hosted.
return to the house.
Right.
Ashley's first choice was
Steve.
Steve.
Yeah.
She thought
And
Steve was a upfront brother,
mhm.
and she liked how he encouraged her when she was feeling down and overwhelmed.
Right. Meanwhile, Brett had his first choice, and his first choice was Melissa. He liked the way she looked, and the what was it? How did he characterize it as? Maybe like the best friend homie vibe. She's
And
been friend zoned and don't even know it. So
the second person Ashley chose was Ada B.
Yeah, that's close enough. As Brett was about to reveal his second choice to stay at the mansion, let's just say a monkey wrench was thrown in the situation by Jazzy, okay, who interrupted the discussion to reveal that while she has a strong feeling and feels like there's a serious connection between her and Brent, she doesn't feel comfortable where she is with the process right now. And because of that, she feels the need to self eliminate
And
from
could
the process.
and could also, well, in the beginning when you signed up for this show, you knew it was,
A
a competition.
competition.
So what changed? And she said, well, she wanted to try something new, but this is not working out. What she's really saying, I want to hold on to my career. I have a radio host,
And
and I don't want people calling and talking to me sideways.
come on, preach on the subject, sister.
Every time I see Brent, I see the ghost of Mike.
And
I gotta cut myself
and
loose.
all of what you said is separate aside from the fact that what led up to that was maybe the possibility, or or what she would have us believe didn't happen happened, right? And
Well,
maybe she had
I tell
something in the air
I tell you, guilt,
behind
guilt,
closed
guilt makes
doors
people do a whole lot of stuff. Just like she's getting out, just like Ashley had to get out.
before too many details come out. Come out.
Brent, of course, was shocked.
Yeah, monkey wrench thrown in his works too, boy, because he definitely was caught off guard by that, to use his own words.
I'm sure Micah want to say, "Hey, brother Brent, how you doing?" Ashley chose Siobhan, and then the final pick was
Came down to
Matthew. She said, "Brian is a wild card, and she does not know who he is."
decision that she made was that she's leaning on her feelings versus her intuition
Right,
about
and
about
you
certain guys
and
that she claims she doesn't know.
your intuition is giving you wisdom.
I want to
Ignore
ignore
the
my intuition,
intuition and rely on my feelings.
that inner voice that doesn't lie to you, tells you the truth, and I'm gonna put that to the side and go with how I feel.
Now, nobody knows about women and their feelings like people who have been in relationship. Because I know for me, I may feel way a minute ago. Next 5 minutes, that's something,
Other end of the spectrum.
and he
Come on with it.
will be so confused because what I liked last week is not what I want this week.
Barbara rubbing his egg like you're doing right now.
So I don't necessarily rely on my feelings. I tend to go with what I see, what I hear, what is standing up in front of me.
And more so your intuitive side.
Absolutely.
You guys call it women's intuition. I think
Yes.
we call it a gut feeling.
Yes.
Men call it a
Gut,
gut
gut
feeling,
feeling.
right?
Right.
But we all have it. It's
Yes.
a matter of whether or not we
We
choose
choose to
or
tune
not
in.
to listen into it and to embrace it.
The issues and the decisions you make that will seem like it costs you your life don't actually happen because you're listening to that guidance. You're listening
Inner voice.
to wisdom. And wisdom is telling you to go down the street, and you better believe the blessing is down the street if you follow
Yeah,
through.
and that's not sourced from any individual. That's sourced
No,
from God. For people who get into conflict because of what they choose to listen to, normally when you don't listen to that, you end up making a mistake as well.
yes. In this case, Ashley is seeing what she wants to see
Their feelings,
and not what is.
her intuition,
Perfect
telling her.
example.
Yep.
So I wish her well. She is in conflict. I'll give her grace, and I hope she gets to where she wants to go. But she's taking the hard road, and I hope it works out for her.
I just think that she has made her journey through this process more difficult. It's been self-imposed, and the reason why is because she's been fickle in terms of the decisions that she's been making
Back and forth.
as
But
it
she's
relates
like
to
a
how
bull.
she's dealing with guys. Okay, the
Yes.
guys that are up for consideration.
Yes.
Okay, she's got to be far more definitive and
Discerning.
yep, discerning is a good word as well. Um, to make what's already a difficult process more smooth.
Yeah.
Okay, not necessarily more easier for her, but more smooth. That
Because
where a road that she can navigate.
you don't want to end up on the end of the show when everyone says goodbye and you end up worse than you actually came in.
Yes.